Jack had never been lucky. In the crowded metallic sprawl of the galactic auction hub, he shuffled through the crowd, scanning the list of ships on sale. His savings were small and every ship seemed out of reach. Most bidders were rich aliens with glimmering skin or tech-filled exosuits, clicking their wrist devices to bid without a second thought. Jack's fingers itched for the same speed, but he had only a few hundred credits. He stopped at a small freighter, dusty and scratched. Its paint was faded, panels slightly dented, but the engine looked intact. The auctioneer, a tall alien with 3 eyes and silver hair, called out, "And here we have a fine vessel. Low starting price, barely anyone wants it. But it comes fully equipped with a companion for your convenience." Jack frowned. Companion? Robots were expensive. Maybe the auction house included one as a gimmick. Without thinking, he raised his hand. "I'll take it." The auctioneer's eyes gleamed. "Sold. To the human in the cheap jacket." Jack laughed nervously, expecting a tiny robot or a useless AI. He didn't expect the door of the freighter to open with a soft hiss, revealing a woman. Not just any woman. Her skin shimmered with soft golden patterns, her eyes a deep violet that seemed to hold both wisdom and mischief. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice calm, melodic. "I am bonded to this vessel. You are my new partner." Jack froze. "Partner?" he asked, glancing at the auctioneer. "I thought it was a robot." The auctioneer shrugged. "No, sir. Living companions are the latest standard. Safe, loyal, and highly intelligent. Good luck." Jack stepped inside, his mouth dry. Lyra studied him quietly, her posture perfect, her gaze unwavering. "You are Jack," she said simply. "I have been assigned to you. We will operate as one." "Resistance is unwise," Jack blinked. "Operate as one? I don't even know you. I can fly this ship myself." Lyra tilted her head slightly, the barest hint of a smile. "We will see." Jack felt a mix of amusement and panic. He had bought a cheap ship, and somehow he had bought a living alien woman. He decided to focus on the ship. He had no choice but to get it off the auction platform and into space. Lyra followed silently as he ran system checks. Surprisingly, she helped without waiting for instructions, analyzing data streams and rerouting power where necessary. Her movements were precise, almost graceful. "Do you always follow humans like this?" Jack asked. Lyra paused. "I follow partners. We work together. It is the way of my people." Jack chuckled nervously. "Well, I'm not your usual partner, I guess." She looked at him with curiosity. "Perhaps you are unusual in a useful way." As they lifted off, Jack realized the ship handled far better than he expected. Old as it looked, the engines roared to life with a surprising smoothness. Lyra guided him through navigation adjustments, pointing out subtle gravitational shifts, meteor trails, and potential pitfalls in the asteroid belt ahead. "You are better than I expected," Jack admitted. Almost reluctantly, Lyra's eyes glimmered. "You humans are often underestimated. That can be an advantage." For a moment, Jack felt a flicker of pride. Maybe he wasn't completely out of his depth. Then the warning lights blinked red. Jack frowned. "What now?" Lyra's fingers flew across the console. "We are being tracked. Someone is following us." Jack's stomach dropped. "Who?" Lyra shook her head. "Unknown. But they know this ship is valuable. We must leave the sector immediately." Jack's heart raced. This was supposed to be an easy purchase, a way to finally get a ship of his own. Now he was being chased by unknown enemies with unknown weapons. "Take us to the edge of the asteroid belt," Lyra instructed. "They will not expect evasive maneuvers there." Jack did as she said, weaving between massive rocks and debris, feeling the ship shake under sudden thrusts. He had handled tough situations before, but this was different. With Lyra guiding him, they moved with synchronized precision, dodging the invisible attackers. Jack stole a glance at her. Lyra's face remained calm, focused. She was not only guiding the ship, she was reading the battlefield in real time, calculating risks and predicting enemy moves. "You're good at this," Jack said, gritting his teeth as the ship spun sharply to avoid a laser blast. Lyra's eyes glimmered. "You humans learn quickly when your survival depends on it." Jack realized something then. Lyra wasn't just a companion. She was a protector, a navigator, a pilot, everything he wasn't, and yet she didn't boss him around. She guided, suggested, and let him make the final decisions, respecting his human instincts even as she overrode them when necessary. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time blurred in the chaos. Finally, they escaped the immediate threat. Jack floated in the cockpit, sweat dripping from his forehead, heart hammering in his chest. That was insane, he said. Lyra gave a faint smile. It is only the beginning. Whoever tracked us will return. They know this vessel has importance. Jack slumped into his seat, running his hands through his hair. Why me? Why does anyone care about this old ship? Lyra glanced at him, her expression unreadable. Because it contains a secret that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. And now you are its keeper. Jack's stomach twisted. He had bought a cheap ship to start over, to maybe smuggle some goods or take small contracts. Now he had an alien woman, unknown enemies, and a ship carrying a secret powerful enough to make them targets. Great, Jack muttered. Just my luck, Lyra tilted her head. Luck is irrelevant. Survival depends on skill, intelligence, and courage. You have some of all three. Jack gave a bitter laugh. Some? I feel like I'm barely holding on. Lyra studied him quietly, her eyes calm but alert. You are human. That will be enough. For the first time, Jack felt a strange mix of hope and fear. He was not alone. He had an alien partner who could do things he couldn't even imagine, and somehow he would have to learn to trust her completely. As the freighter jumped to light speed, leaving the auction hub far behind, Jack realized that life had changed forever. What he thought was a simple purchase had turned into something much bigger. He glanced at Lyra, who was monitoring the ship's systems with effortless grace. So, what now? He asked, Lyra's lips curved into a small, confident smile. Now we survive. Then we learn what this ship is truly worth and how to protect it. Jack exhaled slowly, gripping the edge of his seat. He didn't know if he was ready, but one thing was certain. His life had just become far more dangerous and far more interesting than he had ever imagined. And somewhere deep inside, he knew that this alien companion was going to change everything. The first threat was behind them, but many more lay ahead. Jack had thought he was buying a cheap ship. He hadn't realized he was buying a ticket to adventure, and an alien woman who would challenge every expectation he had about humans, aliens and himself. As the stars stretched into streaks of light around them, Jack leaned back in his chair, realizing that for the first time in his life, he was not alone in the galaxy. He had Lyra, and together somehow they might survive. But even as he thought that, a small blinking light on the radar warned him that their pursuers were regrouping. They had not given up, and the true test of Jack's courage and humanity was only just beginning. Jack clenched his fists. Let them come, he muttered. They have no idea who they're dealing with. Lyra glanced at him, her eyes gleaming with amusement and respect. Good, they should learn quickly. Humans are unpredictable. Jack couldn't help but grin, despite the fear gnawing at his stomach. For the first time, he felt the thrill of possibility. He didn't know what the galaxy had in store, but one thing was clear. With Lyra by his side, he was ready to face it. The adventure had begun. And this cheap ship with its unexpected companion was just the beginning of a story that would test his courage, his wits, and his heart in ways he could never have imagined. Jack had never been more alert in his life. The first chase had been a warning, and now he understood the truth. Their cheap freighter was valuable in ways he couldn't yet grasp, and every star they passed could hide another enemy. Lyra sat beside him, calm and precise, her hands moving over the ship's controls as if the freighter were an extension of her own body. We need to find a safe place to analyze the ship fully, Lyra said. Her voice was calm, but there was a sharpness in her tone that made Jack realize she had already considered hundreds of escape scenarios. Jack nodded. Agreed. Any suggestions? Lyra's eyes scanned the starfield. There's an uncharted system nearby. Few ships venture there. We can hide and start examining the ship's systems. Jack adjusted the controls, following her instructions. Every maneuver felt tense but strangely exhilarating. For the first time, he realized that he and Lyra were beginning to operate like a single unit. The human pilot and alien partner, unexpected as it was, worked in a rhythm neither had anticipated. As they jumped into the uncharted system, Jack allowed himself a moment to breathe. He leaned back in his seat, still gripping the edge nervously. So, what exactly is in this ship that makes it so dangerous? He asked. Lyra's gaze flicked to him. It contains a core, an AI of advanced design. It is capable of controlling weapons, ships, and even large fleets. If it falls into the wrong hands, entire planets could be at risk. That is why we are being pursued. Jack whistled softly. Great, I just wanted a cheap ship. Now I'm protecting a galaxy-level weapon. Lyra tilted her head, a faint smile touching her lips. Some humans are remarkable in how they adapt to impossible situations. Jack chuckled despite the tension. I'm not sure I feel remarkable. Mostly scared. They landed on a small rocky moon hidden in the system. The surface was barren with jagged cliffs and deep craters perfect for hiding. Jack followed Lyra's careful steps, noting how she moved with both grace and awareness. Even in low gravity, she adjusted instinctively, her every movement calculated. You'll need to learn the basics of this ship if we are to survive, Lyra said. I can guide, but you must be able to act independently. Jack swallowed hard. I'm listening. For the next several hours, Lyra taught him. She explained the ship's hidden compartments, its power redistribution system, and even the basics of its defensive capabilities. Jack marveled at her patience. She wasn't condescending. She simply expected him to rise to the challenge. By the time they finished, Jack could manage the ship's systems in a basic way, though Lyra still outclassed him at every turn. He felt exhausted but strangely proud. Just as he was beginning to relax, alarms blared. The freighter shook violently. We're under attack, Lyra shouted. Jack's heart leaped. They had barely hidden, yet a small squadron of sleek black ships emerged from behind a nearby asteroid cluster. Their weapons glowed with an ominous red light. Stay calm, Lyra said, already moving to the helm. We will need to combine strategy and improvisation. Jack realized she wasn't just talking about the ship. She meant him. They needed to work together. The first few volleys of enemy fire struck the ship. Sparks flew across the control panels. Jack quickly rerouted power to the shields, following Lyra's instructions with shaky hands. Power to aft shields. Divert energy from engines. Lyra adjusted their trajectory, weaving through the asteroid field. Jack's fear was replaced by adrenaline. For the first time, he felt the thrill of real space combat. They dodged lasers, barrel-rolled around asteroids, and used the environment to their advantage. Lyra's tactical knowledge combined with Jack's instinctive improvisation created a surprisingly effective defense. We can outmaneuver them, but we need to disable their lead ship, Lyra shouted. Jack nodded, understanding immediately. He gritted his teeth and adjusted the targeting system. Following Lyra's guidance, he fired an improvised shot that ricocheted off an asteroid and struck the lead ship's engines. The enemy vessel spiraled out of control and crashed into the asteroid field. The remaining ships hesitated, unsure how to proceed. Lyra seized the moment. Jack, we make a jump now! Jack engaged the hyperdrive, the stars stretching into streaks as they jumped out of danger. Both of them exhaled heavily, adrenaline coursing through their veins. Not bad for a human, Lyra said, a faint amusement in her eyes. Jack wiped sweat from his forehead. Not bad for an alien partner either, he replied, earning a small laugh from her. For the next few days, they explored the ship more deeply. Jack discovered hidden compartments containing advanced tech, rare minerals, and even personal logs of previous owners. The more he learned, the more he realized that the ship was far more than a vessel. It was a repository of knowledge, power, and history. During quiet moments, Jack and Lyra talked about their lives. She told him about her species, their traditions, and why she had been bonded to this ship. He shared stories of Earth, of humanity's struggles, and of his own failures and small triumphs. Through these conversations, a bond grew, one of mutual respect, understanding, and an unspoken friendship. One evening, as they watched the twin moons rise over the rocky horizon of their hiding spot, Lyra spoke softly. Jack, the galaxy is not kind. Those who underestimate you will pay the price. You are capable of more than you know. Humans often are. Jack looked at her, considering her words. I've always thought humans were weak. But with you here, maybe we're stronger than we seem. Lyra smiled faintly. Strength is not in size or speed alone. It is in courage, in quick thinking, in the will to survive. Jack felt a surge of determination. The chase, the battles, the hidden power of the ship, all of it was part of a larger test. He realized that surviving wasn't enough. He needed to master this ship, understand its secrets, and protect it at all costs. A week later, as they prepared to leave the moon, sensors detected another fleet approaching. This time larger, more organized. Jack and Lyra exchanged a glance. They knew the fight ahead would be the most dangerous yet. Jack gritted his teeth. I guess it's time to see what we're really made of. Lyra's eyes glimmered with pride. Yes, let them come. We will show them that underestimated humans and their partners are not to be trifled with. Together they engaged the ship's full capabilities. Shields glowed brighter, weapons hummed to life, and Jack and Lyra moved as a single entity. Each maneuver, each shot, each decision flowed seamlessly between them. Where Jack improvised, Lyra strategized. Where Lyra calculated, Jack executed. The first wave of enemies was taken by surprise. Jack's quick thinking and Lyra's precise calculations tore through the formation, forcing the attackers to retreat. The freighter had become more than a ship. It was a symbol of human ingenuity combined with alien skill. As the dust settled, Jack and Lyra floated in the cockpit, their bodies tense but triumphant. Jack looked at the alien woman beside him and felt a respect deeper than anything he had known before. "This ship, it's ours now," he said quietly. Lyra nodded. "For now. But the galaxy will not forget it exists. We must be ready for what comes next." Jack smiled faintly. "With you here, I think we can handle anything." The stars stretched endlessly outside the cockpit. The chase was far from over, but for the first time, Jack felt confident. He had Lyra. He had the ship, and together they were an unstoppable force. The cheap ship he had bought at auction had turned into a legendary vessel, a beacon of resilience and cunning. And the alien companion he had inherited? She was no longer just a passenger. She was a partner, a friend, and the key to their survival. Jack leaned back, feeling the hum of the engines beneath him. For the first time in his life, he felt truly alive, ready to face whatever the galaxy threw at him. The adventure had only just begun, and together, he and Lyra would navigate its perils, uncover its secrets, and prove that humans, when underestimated, could be the galaxy's greatest surprise. As the freighter jumped to hyperspace, Jack whispered to himself, a smile tugging at his lips. "I bought a cheap ship and got the adventure of a lifetime." Lyra glanced at him and said softly, "And perhaps the galaxy has not seen the last of our story." Jack nodded. Whatever came next, he knew one thing. Together they were unstoppable.